I really agonized over this presentation. I spent the last 20 years of my career, I retired about a year ago, trying to break down boundaries within communities. And so I'm not even sure that I'm going to get across what I want to get across. There's a growing rift between citizens and law enforcement. It's all funded or spurred by our media. Frankly, what you learn about law enforcement in the media is kind of what you learn about Quakerism by eating oatmeal. So, go ahead. So this is what they ask. Why do you want to be a police officer? And so you can't say, I want to drive fast cars and have cool toys. And if you say, I want to help people, it sounds trite. And it's really only recently that I figured out what it is, the real reason that we all want to. And it's because we wanted to be heroes. And a hero is defined as a person who is admired or idealized for courage, outstanding achievements, and noble qualities. And so our greatest honor was to be a sheepdog to protect you. This is true. Yeah, I've actually seen a whole lot more naked people than I ever wanted to. And there really should be a slide of typing. We do a lot of typing. A lot of typing. And this is also really true. One of the things that I have is some quotes that are from, it's from a law enforcement site. And Jackie wrote, saved a life tonight by applying a halo seal. Single gunshot wound to an innocent victim, and he's going to make it. Pretty reassuring when the EMS captain tells you that exactly that's what they would have done. It's not like nights like this that remind me why I started this journey. As these young people said, yeah, evil does exist, and it's not just when you ignore it. Chris wrote, I remember my first Christmas. I'd been on my own for about a month. Just after midnight, we got sent to a sexual assault in progress. Me and my partner got there and were allowed in by the roommate. We hear screaming. We got to the room, the guy's still inside the girl. We pulled him off her and arrested him. I got off late and fell asleep at the dinner table. I woke up to go back after another 3 hours sleep. This is my personal soapbox. We are all responsible for our communities. And honestly, it's why I teach constitutional rights. And, you know, if people did take responsibility for their communities, and this is probably not the group to preach that to, you seem to do it, but you wouldn't need us, not as much. So the next question is, if you hear gunshots, we talked about that, someone mentioned the active shooter thing. If you hear gunshots, do you run away or do you run towards them? I would run towards them. Did you know that most of us, and I'm retired now, but most cops are armed the vast majority of the time, and it's because we are responsible all of the time for the safety of everyone around us. It's not a job, it's a vocation, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And it's really only since I retired that I realized how incredibly exhausting that's been. But I still feel that way. Brian wrote, I need your advice. Tonight as I'm leaving for work, I told my kids, I'll see you in the morning. My son hits me with, you don't know that for sure, Dad. You might get shot by a bad guy. He's 6 years old. I told him he was just being silly. But what do I say to him? John wrote, please say a prayer or kind thought for my brother-in-law. He was shot and killed on the line of duty by a drug dealer while on duty. This occurred on 12/18/15 at about 03:48 hours. He left a pregnant wife and 2 toddlers behind. He is sadly missed. His name was Walter. Thank you. Please stay safe. Eve wrote, when I went to another police officer's funeral as a detail. When I got there, I learned that the services were for an NYPD officer who committed suicide and left behind 2 little girls, 9 and 4. The girls were old enough to know what was going on. Seeing this little girl's devastation and pain at their father's funeral really stuck with me. Post-traumatic stress is real. It's real for cops. It might not be a shooting, it might be a bad wreck, it might be someone that you couldn't save in a bad rescue. And anyone who says that they weren't affected by it is probably a sociopath. Cops who seek mental health treatment are often viewed suspiciously by their superiors. Alcoholism, depression, divorce, and suicide are commonplace among us. Just wanted you to know there aren't really that many bigots among cops, no matter what the media says. There's some, of course, because there's like 1 million cops, and some of them are going to be bad apples. Most of them get fired. But mostly, if you want to work in a profession where there's color blindness, be a cop. It's usually blue or brown and everybody else. Eli posted, "Today I saw a video of a homicide victim from yesterday. The video was taken the day after he was killed. Fortunately, I caught the suspect not long after it occurred. After seeing the video, I wished I could have done more to help him. Today, an 8-year-old flagged me down and told me he wanted to be just like me when he grew up. 19 years ago, I was that 8-year-old kid in the ghetto. Then a few blocks later, an older kid yelled, 'Fuck the police,' towards me. So many emotions within a few minutes of each other. But all of these situations remind me of why I continue to go to work every day. To both of the youth, I say thank you." I'm going to take one more minute. Most of us are trying to make life or death decisions in just seconds. We try to save lives, try to bring comfort to broken people in situations. And let's face it, if you call a cop, it's not a good day. So you never see us on your good days. And the last one, Kevin wrote, "I was asked what the worst thing I ever saw was, and it wasn't blood or gore. For me, it was Scooby-Doo sneakers. I was doing CPR on a 6-year-old special needs kid. I noticed his new-looking sneakers rocking back and forth gently as I pumped away. He died, and I still remember the sneakers. And I don't tell anyone because I don't want to sound like I want sympathy. People only remember the ticket they got from the rude cop, and they don't understand everything we see, even in a nice town. The sneakers would always be new because he didn't walk. He was wheelchair-bound, and that struck me as incredibly sad. My son is about to graduate the academy as a police officer in Alexandria, Virginia, and I warned him that even under the best circumstances, the job will ruin you somewhat. I did 25 years, but I still think it's a noble and great job, and I would still do it tomorrow. So would I."